Before any blockchain, before any currency, before the code, the contract, the screen, there was the most human drive of all: to live, to eat, to trade, to travel, to love, to clothe your children, to take your family somewhere, to come back with dignity. That's why money was born. A facilitator, an agreement between people, from bartering to coin, from coin to bank, from bank to network. Every step was supposed to bring society closer to freedom. But that's not what happened. The system grew, and so did the chains. Today you work, sell, buy, pay. But who gets paid first? Before the pizza even hits your table, it's already been sliced by a dozen middlemen. The bank takes a cut. The card issuer takes another. The payment network gets theirs. The acquirer, the processor, the exchange, the taxes, the spread, the compliance, the security. You own the money, but you don't control it. Not where you keep it, not where you spend it, not how you send it. You need permission to move what's yours. That's not freedom. That's modern servitude. We built technology to connect the world, and it gave us more layers of dependency. We created blockchain to decentralize, and it became a playground for centralized companies with tokens. They talk about freedom, but they sell KYC. They talk about community, but negotiate with banks. They talk about DAOs, but have CEOs. They talk about Web3, but it only works if the dollar says so. Bitcoin was born to break all of that. Electronic cash, peer-to-peer. It was supposed to be the silent rebellion, the turning point. But where do you actually use Bitcoin? At the bakery? At the butcher's? At the laundromat? At your kid's college? In the school van? At the local gas station? The truth is, the real world doesn't know what Bitcoin is. And those who do, don't use it. The biggest holder of BTC today isn't the people. It's not the working class. It's not the small business owner. It's the United States government. It's the ETFs, the funds, the financial institutions that rule over what they call the people's digital asset. Decentralized? Really? You still believe that? Wall Street sets the price. Regulators set the direction. The same old players still make the rules. The dream of freedom became institutional property. It became a spreadsheet figure. It became a financial asset. And worse, it became the symbol of a revolution that never happened. If everything we've said so far is true, and it is, then we must face an even harsher reality. Decentralization died before it was even born. Bitcoin was born with the promise of freedom, but is now in the custody of financial institutions operating under US law. Stablecoins are digital, but still backed by the dollar. And the system keeps running on the same rails. Banks, networks, bureaucracy. We got faster, more connected, more high-tech, but we didn't get freer. And then, in the middle of this silent collapse, comes the question that changes everything. What if you had a vision of the future? Imagine the year is 1985. Ronald Reagan is president of the US. The Soviet Union still exists. The Cold War is shaping global fear and economics. No cell phones, no commercial internet. The pinnacle of high-tech is a fax machine. If someone told you that in less than 20 years, you could send a message across the world in a second, buy something from Japan and have it delivered to your door, or make a video call with someone in China, you'd call them crazy. Apple is launching its first Macintosh. Microsoft hasn't gone public yet. Google doesn't even exist in anyone's dreams. Amazon is a decade away from a garage. The concept of a social network is a Sunday barbecue. But what if back then you dreamed of all this? Of computers on every desk, of the birth of the internet, of breaking the information monopoly, of power shifting from TV to blogs, from newspapers to forums. What if you saw the turn that was about to happen? What would you do with that vision? Buy Apple stock for pennies? Learn basic programming in your room? Bet on the madness no one understood? Or ignore it all and keep waiting for the real world to give you permission? The year is 2000. The world survived the Y2K bug. Computers didn't crash, banks didn't collapse, but there's still a tense energy in the air, like something massive is about to happen. The internet is no longer a university experiment. It left the labs and entered people's homes. The first e-commerce sites emerge. The first online communities explode. Napster flips the music world upside down. Emails start replacing letters. ICQ and MSN connect teenagers across time zones. It's a new world. And no one really knows how to handle it. The NASDAQ inflates like a balloon. Investors pour millions into companies with no product, no profit, no plan. Anything with .com in the name turns to gold. But then the bubble bursts. Companies crash. Fortunes vanish. The media mocks. The market retreats. They say the internet was overhyped. A fad, just hype. But what if, in the middle of that chaos, you had a dream? What if you saw that Google, with its minimalist search engine, would become the biggest data company on Earth? That Amazon, doubted for years, would swallow physical retail like a black hole? That the once chaotic internet would become the greatest battleground in history? Information, propaganda, control, surveillance, addiction. That from it would rise Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, the iPhone, and with them, a new society connected in real time, monitored full time. And if you knew all of that, would you buy the right stocks, start the first relevant blog, register strategic domains, learn to code while everyone else whined about the crash? Or would you wait for the next hype, complaining about the crisis? The year is 2005. The dot-com bubble still haunts investors. The internet is no longer a joke, but still not omnipresent. YouTube has just been founded. Facebook is college only. Google starts testing something called AdSense. People still carry cash in their pockets. Camera phones are a luxury. Steve Jobs is about to unveil the first iPhone. No one has any idea that it will change how the world communicates, consumes, transacts, lives. The global economy seems stable. Banks keep profiting. Faith in the financial system is almost religious. But quietly, in a shadowy corner of the internet, someone starts writing a document, a PDF. Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It's 2008 when the white paper is published. But in 2005, the idea already exists. And what if, at that moment, before anyone else, you had dreamed, saw that a digital currency with no central bank, no borders, no permissions was about to be born? Saw that in 2010, 10,000 Bitcoins would buy 2 pizzas, and that in 2021, the same amount would be worth over $500 million. Knew that Bitcoin would face governments, banks, journalists, and still open the door to something new, even if unfinished. What would you do with that vision? Would you mine your first 100 BTC on an old laptop? Write down Satoshi Nakamoto in a secret notebook. Start your own community before Reddit blew up? Or ignore it all, waiting for TV coverage? The year is 2025. Artificial intelligence writes books, composes music, and passes college entrance exams. Cars don't need drivers anymore. Low-orbit satellites bring internet to the middle of the desert. Kids learn through holograms. Doctors perform remote surgeries. Reality is augmented, crossed, simulated, monetized. And money still asks for permission. You can have a chip implanted but need approval to send $40 to another country. You can clone voices with AI but forget your bank password and your account is locked for 7 days. You can talk to machines but still pay 2.89% in fees to use a debit card. Blockchain 1, it's everywhere, but no one sees it. No one feels it. No one uses it. Decentralization died at the negotiation table. The most valuable protocols in crypto today operate under SEC rules, are packaged to please banks, depend on dollars, stable coins, custodians, exchange, APIs. Bitcoin became an institutional reserve. Ethereum changes rules by closed vote. The biggest DeFi projects live with one foot in compliance, the other in Telegram. Meanwhile, governments around the world are testing CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. They call it innovation, but what they want is to track, limit, freeze. It's control wrapped in digital branding. And it doesn't stop there. The United States imposes sanctions, blockades, and regulations on entire countries with a single click. Global monetary policy is dictated by decisions from the Fed. If the dollar sneezes, the world gets sick. The response? China, Russia, Brazil, India, and other nations join forces in BRICS, creating their own systems. Closed-door summits, proposals for common currencies, development banks. They call it an alternative to the dollar. But what they're really proposing is trading one central power for another. Replacing the king is not the same as freeing the people. It's just painting the throne a different color. The truth is simple. Decentralization failed. Or rather, it never truly happened. You live in a world where everything evolved, except the basics. You can order a car from your phone, but you can't pay your neighbor without going through a bank. You can open an account in 3 minutes, but it still belongs to someone else. You can buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFTs, but you can't pay for school tuition, rent, or your kids' snacks with any of that. You see DAOs with CEOs, protocols with backdoors, communities that only exist as long as the number goes up. You see exchanges freezing withdrawals. You see free currencies frozen by court order. And in the end, everyone still cashes out in dollars. Everyone still uses their debit card. Everyone still goes back to the bank. Everyone still obeys. The technology changed. The system learned a new language, but the leash is the same. You sleep restlessly. It's not insomnia, it's saturation. It's as if something inside you is begging for a break, as if the outside world is too loud, too fast, too hollow. You close your eyes, not because you're tired, but because you can't stand to see so much contradiction awake. And then, you dream. But it's not just any dream. It's not fragmented. It's not blurry. It's clear, vivid, frighteningly coherent. You see yourself walking through an unknown place, a mix of a big city and a small town, of future and past, of high-tech and brutal simplicity. The streets are busy, but not chaotic. People are occupied, but not rushing. They live, they produce, they buy, they sell, they trade. But no one seems trapped. You notice something curious. No one is swiping cards. No one is asking, do you accept this or that? Transactions happen by proximity, QR code, a click, but without middlemen. A farmer sells his produce directly to a city restaurant. A barber gets paid for a haircut on the spot. A child buys popcorn at the park. No bank, no app, no registration. And the strangest part? They're not impressed. They're not talking about technology, tokens, or white papers. They're just living. You try to understand. You ask. You look around. You search for the secret. And someone looks at you oddly and says, "What? You don't use it yet." You saw it. It wasn't a dream. It was a vision. Clear, direct, impossible to ignore. You saw a kind of money that doesn't need explanation or authorization. Money that doesn't rely on banks, exchanges, forex, or governments. Simple, direct, peer-to-peer money. That money has a name. Bits. But for money like that to be born, it needs a path. Fertile ground, circulation. That path is called destiny. Destiny is the platform that starts the break. It's the system that delivers the new money straight to the people. No filters, no red tape, no permission. Phase 1, massive, aggressive, powerful distribution. Not as a promise of profit, but as an act of foundation. Thousands, millions of units distributed to form a community, not of holders, of users, of people who will use, share, and build. Yes, there will be noise. Yes, there will be hype, speculation, opportunists. It's inevitable. Every revolution begins in chaos, but in time. Phase 2. Distribution stops being the focus. Attention turns to real usability. Where is it accepted? Who accepts it? How to accept it? Bits start circulating. At the bakery, the salon, the school van, the delivery app, the indie concert. Tap to pay. QR code. No bank, no card network, no locks. Destiny stays alive, but now as an activation tool. Each new point of sale is a new cell in the ecosystem, and whoever activates, connects, builds, earns from it. It's a living economy, organic, uncontrollable. Destiny has no owner. It's not from a company. It's not from a country. No office, no corporate ID. It belongs to the people, to those who use it, to those who share it, to those who understood that freedom is not requested, it's used. Bits is the new money. Destiny is the path. You are the starting point. And now comes the question, what will you do with this vision? Will you stack bits like someone who struck gold before the rush? Will you activate, circulate, spread it? Or will you keep waiting for the world to accept what you've already understood? You're not dreaming. The distribution has already begun. The revolution has already begun. Destiny has already begun. You choose the role. Active agent or passive spectator. Those who saw this video in 2025 saw it before the headlines, before the hype, before the adoption, when there was still time to make history, not just be a part of it. Now, the question is, what will you do with it?